Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John, and as always, I am so grateful to be spending a few minutes with you today. Now, before we dive into today's interview, I want to share a quote with you. I know, shocker, right? But this quote is so wonderful. It says, "The only way to get what you really want is to let go of what you don't want." How about that? Such wonderful words from Iyanla Vansant, who is a life coach and television personality. Now, in today's interview, I am introducing you to a mother of two, a go getter, a super hard worker, and someone who is taking the short term rental business by storm in her markets, Kyrsten Lucia. We are walking through how she's balancing it all and setting herself apart along the way. So, without further ado, let's dive in to my conversation with Kyrsten. So today we are joined by Kyrsten Lucia, and this is going to be such a fun conversation. Kyrsten, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, before we dive into all the things we're going to talk about, co hosting and parenting and working and all the things, but first, talk to us a little bit about who you are and where you live.
I am a mom of two. I have a wonderful husband, and we kind of both work full time. I have two beautiful boys. They're fantastic. And we live in St. John, Indiana.
I love it. Who knew there was a town named St. John?
I know. And who knew we would be talking today?
Wow. That's so great, so great. Who knew? I was gonna say I've got all kinds of churches because everywhere you drive, there's St. John churches. I have an island in the Caribbean, right?
Oh,
St. John. And now I have a town in Indiana I didn't even know about. So that's so
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, right. You got it
I
all.
love it. I
You
got
should
it
start getting
all.
some income for that.
There you go. There you go. So tell me a little bit about how you and your hubby got started in short-term rentals to begin with.
So his uncle lived down in Orange Beach, and my husband decided to take a trip down, and he fell in love with the area. So he started his very first short-term rental down in Orange Beach, bought it in 2018. We got married in 2019, and he's like, so now this is part of your world too. And I was like, okay. And I had no idea what I was doing, but it was such a great start. And now I absolutely love what we're doing. It's so fun taking our kids there and growing them up in this world too, because not only are we teaching them about investing, but we're teaching about traveling. And so it's just so much that we are doing as parents that's a lot can't say that they are doing for theirs.
I know. And there's something I think so special and rewarding about sharing that together as a family. I didn't get started investing in real estate or even get started in short term rentals until really my kiddos were grown, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still, as grown adults, have started asking questions. They're saving up for their first investment property. My youngest is actually a junior in college, and his junior project, he had to create a business and develop a business plan. And do you know what business he created? Short term
Yes.
rental property management.
I love that. That's amazing.
I know. It's
Yeah.
so fun though to share it with your kiddos. And your kids, remind me how old they are.
I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Okay, so they are gonna grow up with this. They're not
Yeah.
gonna realize anything is different.
No, and that's like our whole point of doing this now. Do it while they're young so that by the time they are older, we're having the business run itself, which I think
Mhm.
is going to be so amazing, not only for us, but for them, because we won't have to miss a baseball game or anything that they're a part of. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really exciting for us.
Now, I'm curious when you and your hubby got married, you mentioned that he said to you, "Hey, this is now a part of your life as well." What did you think about that? Did you ever envision that you would love it as much as you do?
Absolutely not. I was really terrified actually because I was like, That's a lot of money. That's a lot of unknown. And so I was definitely hesitant, but I know he always has a plan, which is huge. So it didn't make it scary, but I
Mhm,
was I was excited to learn with him
mhm.
about something totally new because I had heard of Airbnb. I'd been to Airbnbs, but it never really occurred to me how big the world is actually becoming in Airbnb. So it's really, or in the short term world in general,
Yeah,
it's really cool actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you married into a condo in Orange Beach. Talk to us about the evolution of your portfolio. How did you decide to grow and where did you go next?
So we had a one in one in Orange Beach. We ended up selling that one because the HOA fees were just out of this world. So we were like, it's time to sell. So we decided to do a bunch of research through AirDNA and through the short term secret shop. My husband worked with a lot of them. And then we bought a place in Sevierville, Tennessee, which that was our big first purchase together.
Mhm,
And it
mhm.
was beautiful. It's 3 and 2, so it's really nice. It's perfect family size. We have a whole game area in that one, so that's super fun. And then we bought another one 3 months later in Crystal Beach, Texas. And that one is a sleeps 15, so it's a 5 bedroom. We just added a above ground pool, which I think is incredible. It's a 12 by 24-foot pool, so everybody definitely has room to swim in it. And then we are co-hosting in Chicago, in Orange Beach, and in Crystal Beach. So
So fun. So how did you decide that co-hosting was going to be your next step after buying some new properties? What was that thought process behind starting to co-host?
we were looking, just crunching the numbers, and we knew we needed the extra income to kind of offset ours as well. So we decided to really dive deep into that. And we want to raise more and get a lot more properties as well so
Mhm,
that we can truly offset those incomes and help everybody just enjoy a wonderful vacation. I think that's the biggest thing is how can we set ourselves apart? And so
mhm.
we want to really dive deep into there. So that's kind of why we decided to co-host, more just the offset of income.
I love that. You and your hubby are still working full time, correct?
Yeah, he works a full 60 to 70 hours a week at work. And then I work Monday through Friday, 7 to 4:30 basically with a bunch of little kids. They just run everywhere. Everybody calls our house like the madhouse. But for me, it's second nature. My mom did home daycare for 24 years, so I just kind of followed right along with that just to kind of think keep things afloat around here, and he does it for work as well, so I think that's really cool.
That is so fun. So you actually help take care of kiddos in your own home
I
while other
do.
parents go to work. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I think that there is something so incredibly special about that as well, because as a mom, I know how challenging and heart-wrenching it is to drop your kid off and go to work, right? But
Yeah.
when they know they're surrounded by other kids and have an amazing caregiver and a beautiful home, it somehow, I'm sure, makes your moms feel a little bit
It
better.
totally does. We just got a new family just a couple weeks ago, and you could definitely tell she was stressed out, and I was like, "I promise they're gonna have so much fun." Now her kid literally walks in the house and runs up the stairs and doesn't look back. So she's like, "I think I'm happy, but I don't know if I love that."
That is great. So talk to me about how your day looks because you're obviously watching kiddos in your home and you are co-hosting. I'm sure you've got guests that may be reaching out. How do you balance the 2?
So my sister actually currently works with me because we are kind of at max capacity. So that's okay. It's good. It's really nice to have her also here. So when a guest calls, I run out of the room and I'm like, sorry, I'll be back in hopefully 5 minutes, but sometimes it can take way longer. And then I have to bounce ideas off my husband normally. So then we kind of find out like the best possibility to take care of that guest in the fastest time period because we do not want them waiting. But I constantly have my phone on me and it rings 24/7. I feel like from the morning I get up till I go to bed. And then it's kind of nice because my husband's able to take over those evening time because that's when he works. He works through the night. And so we kind of have that good balance. So nobody's ever waiting for a response from us. Maybe have like a 5-minute wait period. But other than that, we're responding normally within 1 to 2 minutes every single time.
That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And I think so wonderful for guests to have an engaged host who gets back with them quickly. I know for me, I also have a 24/7 team. It's not my phone ringing, but their phone rings all day, every day. And it does help set us apart with the quick response time and fast communication. I love that you and your hubby, because of your natural schedules, just can do that organically.
Yeah. Some days it's a little stressful. I can't lie, but it all works out in the end. I'm like, okay, we made it through another day. We did it.
Now, talk to me about what else you feel like helps you stand out from other co-hosts. What else really
I would
sets you
say our
apart?
marketing, it's really huge. We have an email that gets sent out monthly. Also, every time a guest checks out, we send an email within 1 to 2 weeks after their stay so that they're able to stay in touch with the properties that they were just at, or there's all of our properties on that email so that they can check out all of our markets that we're in. So I think that's huge. We also have a magazine that we send out and then we put it in all of our units so that our guests arrive and they have something to look at.
Okay,
And
wait. You gotta tell me about this magazine,
it's
okay?
it's
What?
it's really cool actually. And that's also a perk for our co-host too. We are on the front cover with our logo and our picture. But when you open the magazine, it's one of our units. So we can change out the unit every single time it comes through. So the really cool thing about for our co-hosts is that when they first join, their property goes into that next edition magazine that goes out so that it's front and center so people can truly see it, which I think is huge. Like, how else are you going to promote that? Like, so now it's everywhere we travel, we take stacks of notebooks, and anytime we see like one of those stands, we just stick our magazines in there, which sounds so funny, but we're trying to build. And so I think it's such a great way. We also have little koozies that we take with us. And if people start asking us questions, we're like, here's our koozie. And it has our phone numbers and you can contact us directly as emails, everything like that. So I think that really is cool too. It sets us apart.
That's so fun. Okay, so your koozies you take with you like business cards and you
Yeah.
hand those out instead of a business card. That's fun. I've never heard of that approach, but it's very different, right? And certainly
You're at a party and you're like, wait, I need a koozie. And you're like, I have one in my car. I'll be right back.
well, and the other thing too is, I mean, I'll be the first one to say, okay, my purse is a hot mess. Like if you
Oh,
looked inside my purse, I probably have 20 business cards in there that I've
yeah.
just dropped in there and it gets lost. You can't really lose a koozie very easily.
Not very easily. I mean, you can, but then it ends up in somebody else's hands. And guess what?
Right.
Now maybe they're reaching out to you. So it's
Mhm.
actually a lot better because a business card, people will look at it and be like, oh, that's trash.
Right.
And they just throw it away. But a koozie is like, hey, I could use this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to know more about this magazine. So how did you even come up with the idea for this? This is so brilliant.
So we were with Sam, who's our Go STR marketing person. We also had somebody else that he kind of works with reach out to us about this magazine. I wish I had one because then I could really tell you more about it because we've just started it. We've gotten our first edition and we just got the second one in. But it is so cool. Throughout the entire magazine are all these different recipes, home improvements, and then it really showcases our properties on the front part of the magazine and on the back part of the magazine. so the covers. And then throughout it is all these like tear outs. So like our short-term stays logo is in there that people can tear that out and message us and have any questions that they can just send in the mail back to us. So it's really cool.
Now, I'm gonna have to ask this, and
Yeah.
excuse me if I'm asking too personal of a question, but it feels like that might be a healthy investment to, obviously have something in print like that. Can you tell us a little bit about what it costs you to be a part of something like that?
Yeah, so I know per copy it's like $1.25. And so we're normally ordering about 250 of them. So I think it cost us roughly around like $1,000 per month. But I think the marketing side of that is exponential. Like you
Mhm.
can't get it better.
Right, right.
So I think that's what's so huge. And it really does set us apart. We showed it to a couple of our realtors down in Orange Beach, and we said,
Mhm.
"Do you think this is beneficial? Is it not?" And they're like, "We have never seen this before. You can truly like kind of change yourself from others by just
Mhm.
this one thing." And they're
Mhm.
like, "It is so cool because not only is it representing you, but it has all these recipes. So people are going to be like, hey, what should we make today?" Everybody's
Right,
looking for a new recipe, but they don't want a recipe book. They
right,
don't have
right.
time for that. So, like, it's small enough that they're able to get through it, and it's something interesting that they can read within our unit, or as they're traveling, see it,
Mhm.
grab one, take it with them, and it's showcasing us all the way through.
I love that. And so are you also do you have Google Analytics hooked up to your website so you can see the lift in your website visitors?
We have not incorporated that yet. That's probably our next step that we need to.
Mm.
We've really been trying to get the marketing aspect going and
Yep.
then following back up because we are
Yeah. So
taking
I
it one
would
step at a time.
definitely and I get it. One step at a time, right? Baby steps and
Yeah,
progress over perfection. I would definitely encourage you to hook up Google Analytics so that you can see number 1, your website traffic. You can see whether they're coming to you directly. You could also create some sort of a special landing page that you are offering specifically only in that magazine. And then you can look at the website traffic to that specific landing page. So you can start to actually
yeah,
measure the results that you're getting from that investment. It's amazing
that's
what
huge.
technology can do.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that.
Okay, connect with me offline, girl. We'll get you
Okay.
all squared away. That is so fun. I love that you're doing that. It's so unique, and you're right. It absolutely helps you stand out, not only in the marketplace for a traveler, but to your point, for your co-hosting clients. That's a huge
Yeah,
benefit.
yeah, I agree. It really sets all of our properties out there, and when you sign on, you're that next like property to go on this magazine, which I think is huge. Like, hey, we're
Yeah,
gonna promote you in a different way than anybody else is doing. So I think
I
that's really
love
big
that.
for them.
Now, talk to me about your guests. So, in addition, when they walk into the properties, they're seeing this magazine, anything else that makes your guest experience unique, do you feel?
So when our guests walk in, we definitely have little goodies for them. We don't want our children to go starving because that's normally who we are trying to pull into our properties, our families. So we make sure that there's either popcorn or goldfish or that type of stuff with little waters and just say welcome to make it a little bit more like home. So like when you walk in, it's not like, oh, this is kind of scary. I don't know this place. No, it's warm, it's welcoming. I think that's huge. I think it needs to be that way. But we also have our koozies sit there too, so that when your guest opens their first cold beer on their vacation or whatever type of trip they're on, they're
Mhm.
able to just sit back, relax, and know that their drink's going to stay cold. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
I love that. And I'm curious, where do you get your koozies from?
Oh,
It's
we
okay.
kind of run it whatever one's the cheapest. So we kind of bounce back through a different couple websites.
Mhm.
Koozie.com is probably the most common, and normally they're running some pretty good deals. But we kind of run back and forth between them just because every once in a while there's a different price, or you can get a really good percentage off
Yeah,
on some of the newer ones.
that's fun. Who knew there was a Koozie.com or
Yeah,
Koozies.com?
Koozies.com.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm curious, as you have grown your portfolio and started obviously hosting in other markets, what do you feel like your biggest challenge has been and how have you overcome it?
Probably just all of the maintenance side of things. But our big thing is that we have our huge maintenance teams everywhere we go.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
wherever we have these solid teams that truly run everything for us. We know that we can call them at a drop of a pin and they would be there, which is huge. Finding that respect in those types of people is just, it's super hard these days, I feel like, to just find good, solid workers. But we know that we can trust our properties while we're gone. Our huge one in Crystal Beach, Texas, because it's such a big house, sometimes we think our cleaners miss like the small stuff every once in a while just because it's more of a turn type property. So throughout the summer, it's not just sitting empty. It is constantly going through guests. So it's easy to miss those things. Not that we want to,
Mhm.
but no property's perfect. And we all know that.
Yeah.
We can try, but
Mhm.
no property is. But we have a quality control specialist that comes in weekly and goes through the entire property. She checks everything from the grass where there's red fire ants to the inside of all like the electrical stuff. She's incredible. She does it all for us. She makes sure that everything is just ran
Yep.
perfectly and smoothly so that when our guests arrive, we're not getting those, hey, this is not working, this isn't working, this isn't working.
Right.
No, we just know our property's in great hands there. And our cleaners in Tennessee, they basically have the same thing. Their cleaners are exceptional. I
Mm.
would not change our cleaner for anything out there. She is so good. She was a cheerleading coach for, uh, she said 45 years, and I'm sure that's what it was. But she now runs this cleaning business and she does not miss a single detail.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
she's incredible.
Having team members like that are obviously golden and,
Yes.
I'm curious, how did you find them? What steps did you take to locate and source great team members in your markets?
Yeah. So when I traveled myself to Crystal Beach, I was actually going on a family little trip. It was for my mom's 70th birthday, but I always talk about our business just because it's such an easy conversation
Mhm.
starter.
Mhm.
But we were in a little shop and I started talking with this lady and we ended up being like BFFs. She grew up right here in Illinois too. So we actually had a lot of similarities and I was able to bounce ideas off of her. And she said that she did some property managing in Crystal Beach area. And she lives in Galveston, literally right next to the ferry. So it's an easy hop, skip, and a jump for her to jump on that ferry and just go. So that was kind of doing it networking style. Kim, our cleaner in Tennessee, she's fabulous. We found her by kind of stalking the neighbors' houses by saying, which cleaners actually come up the mountains? Because that's a
Mm.
very hard thing. A lot of people will be like, no, I can't do that. It's up the mountain. It is up a mountain. It is not that steep. It is not that scary. It is easy to get to. That is their excuses kind of in that area. So we kind of stalked all the neighbors' houses to figure out which cleaner we would think. So we were there for like 15 days and we interviewed the heck out of all these cleaners that were coming
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
this general location. So for us, there was no question whether we were going to hire her or not.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and I'm curious, when you were interviewing her, I know you just said there was no question. What was it that made you instantly know, "Okay, this is the right cleaner for me?"
Just her tell. Um,
Mhm.
she was already being like, we could change this for you. I think it would be a better layout for the house. And I was like, huh, I never put that into my mind just because the house was so set up when we walked in because it was a brand new build with furniture included. And I was like, I think you're right. That would be perfect for this property. When we left, I knew our property was in such good hands. She just put all the last finishing home details to make it just feel like you're home. You can relax, you're at peace. And I just don't feel like you get that from a lot of people. And so when she left, I looked at my husband and I go, there is no question. You're going to hire her and you're going to hire her right now. You're going to call her. And he's like, would you chill out for a minute? And I was like, we're
No.
not letting her go. And so we just visited that property and it was flawless.
Mhm.
Not a bug in the house. I mean, obviously every once in a while a spider would crawl in. Not my favorite, but
Mm-mm.
I cannot do anything about that. We're in the middle of the mountains.
Right.
So there's no changing that. But
Yeah.
the house was flawless and I knew it's perfect.
That's so great. That's so great. And so how often are you having to visit your properties, or are you simply visiting when you want to vacation?
No, we are 3 times a year. We want to make sure that our teams are truly saying and doing exactly as they are.
Mhm. Mm.
Yes, we have trust in our teams, and I'm not going to disregard that. We love our teams, but we also like to keep a close eye on our properties, not only for our own selves, but for our co-hosts that we're dealing with. They're the owners, so they want to
Mhm.
know that their property is 100% taken care of 24/7. And knowing that your property manager is actually going there to truly make sure that that house is flawless for your guests to every time they walk in, they're just like, wow, we're home. We can relax. Let's have a nice vacation. There's not a stress. I think that's huge. It's that reassurance that, oh, okay, they're going to help take care of us. It's not just somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So good. Now, I also want to ask you, if you don't mind me asking, I know you and your hubby obviously do this business together, and he is a part of a mastermind program, and you are a part of actually my mastermind program geared
Yes.
specifically for women. I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking, what do you see as the difference to have a female focused mastermind community versus co-ed? And I've never asked this question before, so I'm excited. I'm excited and intrigued to hear your answer.
So I think being a part of a all women's group, I just think sometimes we're able to bounce ideas off of each other and actually feel like we're heard. Sometimes I feel like still in the businesses of today, the women are kind of like the backseat drivers and that they're trying to voice their opinion, but they're not truly heard. So being a part of an all women's group, we're constantly being heard. We're not getting left out. We're getting the questions that we need to get answered right away. We're not waiting. I think that's huge. I feel like some of the other masterminds, I love them. I think they're great because my husband's a part of them. And the information that he learns, I think is huge. It really can set our businesses apart.
Mhm.
But getting that support from a woman to woman, I think it's different. It just is. It really truly helps us grow our business in a way that we're able to be heard, we're able to be seen. There's no question. So I think that's truly what helps us stand out in an all women's group. I think it's big.
Yeah. And as you know, sometimes obviously we deal with different things as women, balancing multiple things on the home front as well as in our business. And as you well know, like sometimes we have challenges some with our spouses. Some of the women inside of our accelerator program are not doing this business with their spouse and have periodic questions like, hey, my hubby isn't aligned with this and I'm not sure how to get him on board with where I want to go in my business. And we
Yeah,
are able to support in those types of ways, in addition to obviously the business aspect of things. So
absolutely.
I truly think it's special as well, and it's hard for me to articulate or put my finger on the tangible. Yes, we are women. Yes, we are boss ladies, we're business owners, we're
Yeah.
growing our portfolios, but there's this intangible piece of it, and it was neat to hear you describe that, so thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
curious, if someone were looking to start a co-hosting business,
Yeah.
what words of wisdom would you share with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would definitely tell them, make sure you know the owner. Don't just dive in. A lot of people are like, oh, my first co-host deal. Let me just get this. It's not that simple. And I don't want people to think that because it's totally not. You
Mhm.
have to know the owner before you attach them onto your portfolio. You need to know that they are going to listen to you and follow your direction of whatever you're able to give them. I think that's huge. You really got to set yourself apart and be like, here's what you need. This stuff could wait. So, really knowing up front what type of properties you want to get yourself into. If it's the beach world, great, go for it. Now for us, yes, we are all over the place, but that was because we both wanted a place that we could go and be in the middle of all of our properties that we could get to in 14 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours. We want to be there in drivable distance because we want to be able to
Mhm.
have our car with us with all of our tools that we need to be able to bring with us to fix what we need to fix. So I think that's big. So we that's something I would always say, like, think about where you want to be. Do you want to fly every single time you have to go visit your property? No? Okay. Think differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's I
And
think it's kind of a way to put it.
totally, and I think there are so many people that are focused on what's the right market, like, where should I be? And in my opinion, it's you should be where you want to be. Now, obviously, you need to do the market research. You need to analyze that market and make data-driven decisions, but
Yeah.
until you take an inward look first, you may not find the perfect market because it's not perfect for what you want
Yes,
as
I 100% agree with that. So that's why I always say, just go where you want, go where makes you happy, because you'll start getting that cash flow, or you might be just having a property that just ends meet ends. And
Mhm.
that's okay too. But then you're able to grow from there because now you're getting the basic knowledge that you need to be able to expand yourself.
For me, and as you know, I have a really specific process I follow in analyzing a market, and one of the things that was important for me is that the markets that I select do make me happy. They do bring me joy because when I go visit them, it's like a treat
Yeah.
versus a drag, you know? But I also think it's really important, especially for newer folks when they're starting out, to ensure that you are doing that market research, that you are
Absolutely.
selecting markets that have good potential for you as a business owner. Because maybe not everybody, but for me, I want to run a business that's profitable.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
we need to
same
make
for
sure,
us.
yeah.
And I think that's why I say that it's okay if your very first property is just ends to meet ends
Mhm,
because you're not losing, but you maybe gain 2000,
mhm,
or you're just making ends meet. But that's okay for that first property because then you know truly what you're looking for. I feel like you
mhm.
have to get your feet wet a little bit in a
Mhm.
property that you're like, this is home.
Right.
And that was kind of our one-in-one condo in Orange Beach. That is home for us. That is our end goal, is to be there in the next couple of years. So we're really trying to build our portfolio there,
Mhm.
which I think is big. That's where we got married. It is like our home away from home. We call it
Yeah.
that every single time we go. We never want to come home.
I know.
Um, but we know that's our end goal. So we are truly building
Yeah.
ourselves and trying to set ourselves apart to get down there faster.
I love that, and I just want to applaud you for being intentional. You know, so many people go through life thinking that life just happens to them, and I think there is something so incredibly important. If you want something from life, we have to be intentional about going after it. And you and your hubby are absolutely doing that in spades. So I just kudos to you.
Thank you.
So, all right, I want to move to the lightning round. Okay.
Okay.
So I am going to ask you some questions and I'll ask you to answer with the very first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
First question, I think I know what you're going to answer, but let's see. What's your favorite place to vacation?
Orange Beach.
I knew you were going to say that. That's so great. All right. No surprises there. What's one place you've never been that you want to visit?
Probably like Punta Cana or something.
Mhm.
Caribbean, all Caribbean.
You've never been to the Caribbean?
No.
Oh, girl, it is just magical. Like,
Yeah.
so beautiful. My first trip to the Caribbean, I won actually on Wheel of Fortune.
Okay. That's
I know it's a
amazing.
little strange, I know. So, yeah, I won a trip to St. Croix when I was on Wheel of Fortune, and I had never been to the Caribbean before. I had just experienced Hawaii, and I was just blown away by the beauty, the color of the water, the people, and it was so wonderful because it's a heck of a lot faster for me to get to the Caribbean than it is for me to get to Hawaii, so
Interesting. But yeah,
I
you're right. I mean, we just got back from a 7-day cruise for my mom's 70th, and that was in Mexico.
yeah.
And I really had no intention of ever going to Mexico, but we made it and it was cool. And I
Oh,
can
yeah.
at least say I've been there and
Yeah.
I don't really need to do it again, but the heat, that's where I want to be. Anywhere where
There
it's
you
warm,
go.
where I can dip my toes in the sand the second I wake up.
Amen to that, girlfriend. Okay, what's one thing you know now that you wished you knew when you were starting out in short-term rentals?
Confidence. Yeah.
So when you say confidence, what do you mean
You
in
know,
con
I think it helps with running your business. I'm confident that I can run your business. I'm confident I can keep everything at bay when everything
Mhm.
just seems out of control. Confidence is everything. I used to not have any confidence. I was a very shy person, very kind of kept to myself. I kind of stand out very much when I go places because not that we would know, but being 6'7" does not keep you hidden. Um,
Yeah,
I have learned that you have to be confident and if you want to earn respect. And so I now know I have to be confident and I have to remind my husband of that too. We've got to be confident in ourselves, trust the process. When things seem
mhm.
out of control, we just have to take a step back and be confident in our decision and run with it.
Love that, love that. So good. All right, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
It's okay to make mistakes.
Mhm. Yes. And that shouldn't any mistake is a learning opportunity, and I see people who make mistakes and then they let it eat them alive and it breaks their confidence, right?
Absolutely.
When you
Yeah,
trust the process and you know that mistakes are part of your journey, we can absolutely keep our confidence. Would you agree?
absolutely. I totally do. Yeah, I coach volleyball. And so with that, I tell the girls all the time, it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to learn from them. You have to learn
Mhm,
quickly and move on. Because
mhm.
if you keep dwelling on that past mistake that you just did, you're never going to be able to grow. And so it's okay to make those mistakes, but learn from it. How do you make it better the next time?
Love that girl. All right, last question. What's one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
Oh, probably my boys. they
Mhm.
are, they keep me going. When
Yeah.
things get tough, I look at them and I go, this is for you. This is for
Mhm.
nobody else. Because we all know that we all move on. There's times when we get sick and we move on, and that's hard too. But my children will always be there standing right next to me. And
Mhm.
I know that this is all for them.
Yeah,
They
so good.
help me keep going every day. I see their little smiles and I'm like, that's right. I got to keep working for you. when everything's crazy and out of control, no, this is for you. I'm going to keep working hard to make sure that we are all good.
I love that. I love that. And I am curious, would you mind sharing if someone wants to learn more about you or be in your magazine by being a co-hosting client? Where is
Yes.
the best place for them to find you online?
You can find us on Facebook at Short Term Stays, but you can also find me at Your Tall Girl Host on Instagram.
That is brilliant.
Yes, but then you can reach us through our emails. Mine's are Kyrsten Lucia at shorttermstays.net. Our numbers are kind of plastered all over the world now, I feel like.
Mhm.
So you can call us. We're here to answer any questions, which I think is huge. Our phones are always on us. So we answer the craziest times of the day where you're like, oh, they're not going to answer. We answer. So give a ring. We'd love to help in any way.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Now, before you go, I want to share a quick shout out to some of the amazing women inside the Female Short Term Rental Investors Facebook group. Just a day ago, Nicole Comey posted. So, we recently took on a house fully managing, and I'm finding that it has a very distinct smell from the family that was there before. I've used deodorizer spray and baking soda on the carpets, but it's still there. Anyone have tips and tricks? And we've had 20 women jump in and share feedback. And Vanessa Hammonds answered, tear up the carpets. If you can smell things through the carpet, you might be surprised at what's underneath. Tear up the carpets and wash the walls if you can too. Vinegar has done wonders for urine if it's that kind of thing. All right. Thank you, Nicole, for posting the question, and thank you for answering with such practical advice, Vanessa. All right, my friends, that is it for today's episode. As always, I'm just again incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to be in your ear. So thank you for choosing to listen. I'll be back next week with another phenomenal episode, and until then, I hope you have an amazing week.